I want to learn more
Um,
about the games that you work on. And from what I understand, Love and Pies, I think there are other ones, but these are merge games, right? Is that how they be classified? What
yes.
are merge games for those listening? 'Cause I know it's a huge kind of part of the mobile kind of audience. So
Yeah, I mean, merge games, I think, is quite a young genre of games. We've obviously have like match games were a big sort of similar thing to merge games before, where match games you kind of match three items together and it's kind of like Candy Crush style things. And merge games came into play with sort of like Merge Dragons, Merge Mansion, etc. And essentially, for people at home who don't know what merged games are, it's you have your little board and you have generators that generate these items that you need to then complete orders. And the way you then complete these orders is by putting two of these items together to make a next item, and then you put another two of those items together to make the same item, then you merge those two together to then make the one above. It's a whole mathematical complex thing going on. But the idea being is that the more you tap, the more you generate, the more you can then complete your orders and move on from there. Um, and yeah, it's Love and Pies, like you said, is a merge game. It's a merge two game. It's been out since, oh god, it's literally testing my knowledge now. I'm going to say 2021 off the top of my head. Now, anyone watching this in Charmix is going to kill me because I've probably got this very wrong.
I was just trying to Google it for you.
I think it is 2020. I think it is 2021 because when I started, they just had the first year anniversary of the game going live.
Okay. And let me add to the merge because I remember when I worked in mobile games, I was kind of researching about merge and kind of the appeal before kind of you'll tell me what the right answer is. Humans intuitively love making order out of chaos. Like
Yes.
they love cleaning, like when you start cleaning your room or you're kind of cleaning the kitchen and you get into that role and just love
Yes.
moving things into place. Is that kind of the driving force behind that
Honestly,
genre?
merge games, in my opinion, tap into that primal satisfaction that we all have to organize and do things in a way that just helps us make our lives better. So like any games that have that primal satisfaction of organization is crazily good for me. I just love that sort of shit. But yeah, merge games are specifically targeted towards that satisfaction, right? They are, in my opinion, they are definitely, as I'm going to be very biased, Love and Pies is definitely one of the most visually satisfying games in the Merge 2 genre. Like it's well known that every time we go talk to people and they're like, "Oh, you work on Love Pies? That game, it looks amazing." Like it's one of the biggest selling points of our games, and I love that it is. Um, but like it also is that the progression feels tangible. It's under your control. Right, and a lot of games, obviously, a lot of the progression could be out of your control. But like with Merge 2 games specifically, it's really easy to learn the systems and really easy to understand what you need to do. But then it's really hard to master, and that's the push that then gets people playing more, right? You start off easy and you go, oh, it's really simple. I just tap on the generator, merge these items together, service order, done. And then more and more things start coming into play as you build up and keep progressing through the levels. And it's just like, oh, now there's this event that's asking me to do this and also this. What do I need to do? What do I prioritize? And then that's when it starts going like, oh god, like what do I do? Like, where do I go? But it still gives people the sense of control, but also at the same time discovery, this thrill
Here
of
we
then
go. It's okay. We
building.
were getting let it go through. I was looking at Merge. It is a beautiful game, by the way. I was looking at just the
It is.
images and like the art style is incredible. So
Yeah,
vibrant.
our artists are great. They just hit the nail every time. Whenever we've got something we want to work on, and they go, "Yeah, here you go. Here's some concepts," and I'm like, "God damn, I wish I was this good." Like it's just amazing, and they're just so good at it. And it's one of the things. It's like if you have a visually satisfying game like Love and Pies, and you look at that and you go, "Damn, this is so much fun to look at," and then new things keep getting added, and more kind of things happen, and like part of it is discovery, like new generators and new items and stuff, and then you find that final cake that's like gold or whatever, and you're like, God damn, that's so cool. Like it's really fun and it keeps people engaged. You give players a sense of if you give them a sense of control, but then that discovery too, you're going to keep them engaged, and that's hopefully what Love and Pies does best for us.
So kind of from what I understand, you mentioned like Merge Mansion and all these other games. I remember kind of what I was looking into it in my research. Like it's a really dynamic genre. Like with Merge Mansion, it was like a story, right? So you'd complete kind of the weekly merge assignments or tasks, and then you get revealed what happens in this like murder mystery
Yeah,
mansion like story. What is Love and Pie's kind of angle to it, or is it?
yeah, sure. I mean, So one of our biggest things, and we love talking about this, is when the game was first going out and going live, and we're testing out the game. And I wasn't around at this point, so I might get some of these things wrong. So this is the general gist. Was that the storyline was not very similar to Merge Mansions. I think it was just very similar in terms of like that whole kind of mystery genre. Let's just, this things are happening, and this character called Amelia is going to go build a cafe, and it wasn't really working. And then we pivoted massively. We changed the story, and essentially the first thing you see is Amelia walking up to this cafe and it's being burnt down, right? And that is an instant hook that literally grabbed people and worked really well. So, our story narrative is like, you've had this cafe that's been in your family for so long. You've come back after having a divorce, and you've had a kid, and your husband cheated on you, and all these sort of like real world, like melodramatic. It's very like telenovela. That's what
Yeah, like a
one of the
soap
things.
opera,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Your husband's left you. You had a child. He's divorced you. Cheated on you. Now your cafe's burnt down. All this melodramatic stuff's happening, and that really hooked people into the game. And from then, the narrative is just taking it, keep it going and going one step further, where it's just like mystery after mystery after mystery of like things happening, and it keeps people engaged. Like it is literally a soap opera, because you read through the narrative of these games and you go, what's happening next? And then you have to progress. You need to serve orders. You need to collect that coins to then know what happens. It's like exactly waiting for a soap opera. You have to wait a week. It's like, I'm on a cliffhanger. Why the hell am I on a cliffhanger? Like, I need to know what happens. And that's what the narrative hooks do really well. Um, Especially for all games, like Merge Mansion does it,
Yeah.
our game does it, etc. So it's good. It's good
That
fun.
that yeah, that's fascinating because just the storytelling aspect of it. So I didn't want to cut you off there, but
That's right.
the fact that you can tell a story through like a mobile game where like maybe console developers or PC developers would scoff at like, oh, it's simplistic, but like no, you're using certain in-game mechanics to then tell
Yes.
this narrative soap opera like
Yeah.
story that like keeps
I
people
mean,
engaged and coming back.
it's really like, it's obviously a production question. Like, we can't do cutscenes in a mobile game. That's too expensive. That takes too much time and all that sort of stuff. And you can maybe get around with it if you have the time and money to do it. But simplistic, sure, but it gets the point across. We're targeting people who are just doing this. It's mobile games, right? When do you play them? You're on a travel, you're on the tube or the train, or you're at home just watching TV and you're playing alongside, right? So it needs to be quick, snappy, and just digestible content. And so doing story hooks like that, where the narrative is really simple. Like, let's, for example, make something up, that Amelia, our character, decides to have an affair, right? And so the last thing you read is, and she walks into his bedroom, whatever, right? And you're like, what? No, I need to now know what happens, right?
Yeah.
And so, and that hook just keeps people hooked. I think that's just really fun, and it is engaging. Like, I read the story sometimes and I'm like, man, this is so dramatic for no reason. But then I'm like, but I'm still intrigued to know what happened.
Oh yeah, I mean, you watch Grey's Anatomy and any of those like big
Exactly.
shows, and it's all really dramatic. So it's
And like,
it's
and
fair game.
it works. It works for our audience because with as being product and working with product marketing and stuff, you do surveys and you understand who your players are, right? And you understand that they're people who like true crime, they like Grey's Anatomy, they like TV shows like that. And so you tailor the story aspect to those kind of audiences to kind of keep them hooked.